Whole sports all plays. Yeah. Whole sports all plays. Whole sports all plays. 365, we're making up plays. You talking the game, get you through the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety topics never the same. All presentation, sports information. Hitting the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, like working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. Whole sports all plays.
And welcome everybody to tonight's episode of Real Talk. I'm excited to be here with a couple of lovely gentlemen. Kenny, Dev, what's going on, fellas? How y'all feeling today?
I'm okay. I don't know if I've ever been called lovely, but I guess I got to take it.
I ain't never been called. I know this is my first time I've been called lovely.
All right. So I see how we're going to start this episode, gentlemen. That is absolutely fine.
I wish I had my soundboard for that one.
Yeah, you slipping, bro.
You might need to put a pause behind that one.
Oh my goodness! You were in New York, so I'm sure the pause was in full effect.
Yeah, man. I had a great time being home. Got to watch some kids, some street ball. Shout out to Kyrie Ryan Strickland tournament. Went out there on Saturday, watched some games, watched some young folks and some high school ball. So it was a good visit.
Okay, definitely glad to hear. You got any inside information, any news? Did KD show up? Kyrie and best friends?
I knew he was back. Nah. I did get a chance to catch up with Kai's dad, but no information.
Oh, come on. Kenny could have wrote it off as a work trip.
Look at you, businessman.
No,
got to know how to do it. But definitely glad to have you back, Kenny. And in the spirit of returns, Tom Brady has come back from his mysterious hiatus, I guess, is a whole bunch of stuff rumored. Turns out it was a pre-planned family trip, allegedly. But obviously timing, not ideal, given that the weapons he's going to have on offense are very different from anything he's had before just because of injury and other things. Bruce Arians is not the head coach. He's been kicked upstairs. So what do you guys think? Is the return no big deal? Is this a big deal? Is Brady getting special permission that no one else could get? Speaking of Kyrie, people taking off time when they need it. But the season technically hasn't started. So, Dev, I'll start with you. Your thoughts?
I don't think it's a big deal, honestly, in my opinion. Tom Brady has been playing with different wide receivers throughout his whole career, whether it's with Deion Branch, whether it's with Randy Moss, whether it's with Mike Evans. You know what I mean? So he didn't play with different receivers, played in a couple different offenses, even though he had Josh McDaniels throughout his beginning of his, or at least his prime of his career, as we can all say. But I don't think it's a big deal, because it wasn't like we were going to see Tom Brady in any of these preseason games anyway. So I'm pretty sure he's going to be up to date. He can catch up fast with their playbook or whatever system they trying to run. I'm pretty sure there ain't going to be no different than what Bruce Arians was running last year. So I don't think it's no big deal, in my opinion.
Okay. We'll take that. Kenny, your thoughts?
I want everybody to keep the same energy that they give to. I don't want no qualifications about this is not during the season. This is in the heart of training camp. The teams are preparing for their regular season. He already lost his starting center for the year. He's working in a new center. He needs to get chemistry with the center. So I'm not trying to hear that. It was he had cleared it with the team because unrelated situation, but that Kyrie situation, that was the team knew about that too. So but that's neither here nor there. But I'm saying all that to say that when we talk about Tom Brady being a GOAT, and we talk about Tom Brady taking this pay cut because he was, wanted to make sure that they were giving him the best chance to win, and then we compare him against the LeBron Jameses and stuff like that. Like, we can't do that and then say it's okay for him to miss training camp practices in the heart of training camp. Like, that's to me, that's not right. So we got to hold him accountable the same way we would say that for everybody else. I don't care how long he's been in the league, because if it was anybody else, everybody there at the quarterback position, the leader of the franchise, the most important position on the field, and they're missing games to go on a family vacation, we would have an issue with it. So I'm not trying to hear that.
So obviously Brady's situation is a little different, given that he was retired, and the report is it was a pre-planned trip. So do you think that's not true?
Deposit? No, I didn't. I'm not saying that it's not true. Cancel it.
But the reason he retired,
you came back. You came back. That's the point. You unretired because you still wanted to play. So
right.
That means,
but if you're planned the trip with your family, and your family was the main reason you retired, wouldn't it serve you to not piss them off by canceling the family trip?
You already pissed them off by unretiring.
Yeah, but you don't want to make matters worse. You don't want to exacerbate the situation.
You already did. You already did by telling them that you retired, and then a few weeks later, you turned around and changed your mind. So now they basically, the time.
Well, I guess that was the football gods silencing this heresy that this man Kenny was speaking. Dev, do I got you in here? Or is it just me? Yeah, it looks like you're still muted. All right. So I'll give my 2 cents while these gentlemen in their poor connection connect back to us. Oh, is that Dev? Did you make it back?
There you go.
We got live ammunition. Glad to hear it. You missed it. Kenny was just going in, just talking all kinds of craziness about.
I was saying I was listening to Kenny a little bit before I seen that the soundboard was up and running, but I don't see what's the big deal. Like, the thing about it is, now, what if Tom Brady would have retired? I mean, y'all was going to plan on moving on to a new quarterback anyway. You know what I mean? And who's to say that Tom Brady can even? I pretty much think this is his last season. I think he just wanted a little hooray tour. He want that Kobe Bryant little tour going out. You know what I mean? As he kind of deserved, but
kind of. One, he definitely deserves it. Two, this is not a farewell tour. I think what we see here is a situation that what happens when you get a little bit older. So, Dev, this is why I do want to give you some credit. The thing about all the vets that they say is it's the studying and training camp that they want to skip. Brett Favre used to do it. Gronk has done it. Many vets have skipped that part. I think this was strategically planned, probably done so during his retirement, but he knew he was coming back. He was only retired a month, so he started having second thoughts. In 2 weeks? Now you got to have a week.
He had second thoughts before he even made the announcement.
So I think this was a way.
He had second thoughts that first day he was in that pickup in that drop-off line for school. He said, "This is what I gotta do."
And he said, maybe that's not best. He had a nice post today to his son, his son's birthday. So I think it was just a convenient time. And Anthony, here's the thing. And I know you guys are going to hate this. He's earned it. He is above reproach when it comes to preparation.
Ooh.
I don't want to hear anybody questioning what he's done, because he's done it better than anyone ever at that position. So do I think it's ideal? No, this is terrible timing. But they're going to be okay. And Dev, to your point, this idea he might play to 50, I think that's dead. I think we're starting to see this year, maybe next year, but I think he is on his way out.
Hey, what's up with Kenny, boy? Hey.
It's the way energy works. You put out bad energy, you get bad results. And in this case, he has bad control. So I don't know what's wrong with Kenny. Apparently, he's strategically ducking smoke, is what he's doing. Maybe he'll get in, maybe he won't. He might have lost his touch. You take time off, you get rusty. So I
Say it ain't so, Kenny. Say it ain't so.
But we'll move from one quarterback to a Kenny-like quarterback, and that would be Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield has won the starting job in Carolina. We talked about that a number of times here. I am and have been a Baker fan, but I also understood it was time for him to go when you can go get Deshaun. And he underachieved. There's no ifs, ands, or buts around it. He flat out underachieved, and I wish him the best. Big game to start the season versus Cleveland. But my question for you is, Dev, what does this say about Sam Darnold, who was in that system beforehand, who's guaranteed almost $20 million this year, and they're willing to bench him for Baker, who's only been there not even a month?
Shows that they had no faith in Sam Darnold. As I alluded to a while ago, like Sam Darnold and Jared Goff is like one of your bottom tier quarterbacks, like the bottom of the barrel quarterbacks. Can Sam Darnold be a starter somewhere? It all depends, but I really don't think so. You know what I mean? It depends. He might can go to the Giants and outbeat Daniel Gibson. I mean, not Daniel Gibson. Daniel
Danny
Jones
Dimes,
up there.
no. That's Tyrod's team.
Right. See, that's what I'm saying though. He can if you put him and Daniel Jones up there together, you probably be like, man, Sam might can win that battle. He might can win that battle, but as far as Baker Mayfield, we all expected Baker Mayfield to come down there and actually be the starting quarterback anyway. Once they made that trade, you knew they gave up on Sam Darnold. It was just like, you know what, Sam? We're going to do what Cleveland did to Baker. We're going to go ahead and entertain another quarterback. We're going to bring him in. You're going to sit back. You're going to get your $20 million. You're going to get your money, but you're going to go ahead and play the backup role, though, because you ain't it. you is not it. So we're going to go ahead and put you on the bench. And I guess Sam Darnold, he has no room to say, he has no room to argue.
I mean, it's not even a good team. If you couldn't win that job, I don't think there was a job you could win.
What about Washington?
So, all right. Go ahead. Talk that talk. You saw Taylor Heineke playing this past week. You better.
No, I did not. No, I did not.
That's unfortunate for you.
Yeah, nope. We got
two starting quarterbacks.
That is very unfortunate for y'all. If y'all think Tyler Heineke can lead y'all.
Quiet as it's kept, Sam Howell's looked all right. Now he ain't ready, but we might have a quarterback in the future on that roster. Now,
y'all gonna do him like Kirk Cousins. don't even do that. Y'all gonna do him like Kirk Cousins. Y'all gonna
take care of Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins, man.
Yeah, but y'all also didn't want to get that man that long-term contract either.
Because he ain't earned it. And I wouldn't have gave it to him either.
He's a 4,000 passing yard quarterback. What else? Y'all quarterbacks been doing this ever since he left.
Taylor Heineke's been solid. I don't care what y'all say. He took us to the playoffs and almost beat Tom Brady. Y'all keep forgetting that part.
What you said? What was that word you said? He what he do?
He almost
what?
beat Tom Brady.
He what?
He almost beat Tom Brady.
That almost means he didn't beat Tom Brady. So it's like that sentence is
Nobody
irrelevant
beat Tom
now.
Brady that year. They won the Super Bowl.
But hey, doesn't matter. You said he almost.
Yeah.
You said almost. That no.
That
You ever
means
listen to that brand? You ever heard that Brandy song? Almost doesn't count.
Dev, so if you go play quarterback, you think you're going to almost beat Tom Brady?
Yeah, if Tyler Heine can do it, I can do it.
See, you disrespectful. That's your problem. That's your problem. On Taylor Knapp. You're begging for Taylor when Lamar don't got no deal and y'all going down the toilet.
Mm-hmm.
So
we got it. Go ahead. I'm gonna let you.
So speaking of Lamar Jackson, Dev, we are 2 weeks out. And there's little to no traction. They said the report came out today, says they offered him more than Kyler Murray got. I don't know what that's supposed to move the needle. I think we all know Murray. So, you offered him more money than Kyler.
You got no choice. That was what Kyler. What Kyler made? What 42? He's making what 42 now off his deal.
42 and a half, something like that. I forget. It is overpaid, whatever it is. But they gave it to him. So tell us more about this Lamar situation. Is it going to get rectified, or are y'all going to Kirk Cousins Lamar Jackson? Sounds like y'all are more Kirk Cousins than we are.
Honestly, I think that's what is about to happen. I think he's going to wind up getting that Kirk Cousins franchise tag. He's going to get that $50 million a year franchise tag, all for the simple fact that, because like he said, by week 1, he's done talking. He's going out there and just playing. So,
missing me with that, can't afford it.
Yeah, I'm not understanding why is they not trying to, like, you saying that we offer him a contract that's paying more than Kyler Murray. That's like, duh, you supposed to. He's the former MVP. He's the guy that as you can clearly see that our offense doesn't really click without him. You know what I mean? Even though Tyler Huntley can play the one hell of a backup role, and I believe he is a potential starter in this league soon. But as you can see that
backup tight end over there.
Yeah, but as you can see that he couldn't get us those games. We was always 3 points or fewer out of those games, without Lamar. So I don't know what the Ravens is not saying. I don't know what the Ravens is trying to do. Even though I think Lamar, he wants his fully guaranteed. Like Deshaun Watson messed it up for, every quarterback that's about to even come after Lamar. So, I don't know what Baltimore doing, but time is ticking.
I mean, I think the thing is, and I'll pass it to you, Kenny, get you in. If you're not going to fully guarantee it, you have to guarantee more than.
You have to give him 50 a year.
More than Kyler. You got to guarantee more than really everybody. I honestly believe you got to guarantee more than Deshaun if you ain't gonna make it fully guaranteed. You're gonna
have to guarantee more than Patrick. You're gonna have to fully guarantee. He's gonna have to. He's gonna have to be 50 plus.
Patrick's a different conversation to me because of the Super Bowl. So that's a different conversation. I'm saying he gets the edge over Deshaun because he got an MVP, and he don't got the baggage.
Mm-hmm.
So if that guy got that, how can I reasonably take less than that?
But then you gotta sit here and think of that organization. Look at how Cleveland was so desperate, to actually get a starting quarterback.
And that's in your division. So if I'm Baltimore, we got to respond to it. But
look like we got to play desperate too.
we got people we got to pay. And if
because
you
you
want
gotta sit here.
fully guaranteed contracts, typically aren't very team friendly. So,
No.
because there's no wiggle room there.
Because
So
then you
I
gotta sit
don't
here and
know.
think. You gotta sit here and think Bateman his rookie contract gonna be up eventually. Then you still got Duvernay. Then you're gonna have to figure out what you're gonna do with Mark Andrews when it's time to re-sign him. Even though we just gave him a contract, last year I believe, or a year, or about between a year and two ago, we gave Mark Andrews. But eventually, if he becomes the as if people say the number one tight end in the league, you know, what I mean, he gonna want to be paid like the number one tight end in the league eventually. So it's gonna be a lot.
Kenny, your thoughts?
Yeah. First of all, Anthony, Cowboys fans don't have all the money. Jerry Jones has all the money. If we had the money, we'd have bought the team from Jerry Jones. Secondly,
Sound like you throwing shots at your own.
to this click, I might let one off. So just keep it ready, just in case. No. With this Ravens things, I'm not trying to hear that they don't have the money to do it. I'm tired of these teams crying poor and crying broke. That's why you have capologists and things of that nature to be able to figure out to how to structure the contract to be able to manage your salary cap. So that's why you get paid the big bucks. So do your job. So I'm not trying to hear that. If I'm, and if I'm Lamar Jackson, I'm not selling for anything less than a fully guaranteed contract. And I think that's what's slowing this. That's what's dragging this along. And I don't blame them if that's the case. I hope that's the case because the market, the precedent has already been set. If you're going to give some, and there's no disrespect to Deshaun Watson, but to Ray's point, like the fact that he has character issues, and you're coming in with the MVP on your resume and multiple playoff appearances, and I can't get a fully guaranteed contract, and he can, and from a team that a franchise that has never won the Super Bowl, and this is one of the best run franchises in the league, and you got a multiple Super Bowl champion team, and you're not going to take care of the most important player to your organization. Nah, I'm not trying to hear that. So I just think that this is going to have to, the Ravens are going to have to figure out a way, whether it means maybe less money or less years and more guaranteed money or something, whatever the case may be. They got to figure it out. So if it's a 5-year deal, if it's a 4-year deal for a fully guaranteed, a 4-year, $200 million deal with fully guaranteed, whatever the case may be, and that way you can kind of go back and revisit it after 4 years or something like that, kind of similar to what they did with Dak. He had a 4-year deal. You could put the money in signing bonuses. There's a bunch of different ways to manage the situation. So I'm not trying to hear that they can't afford it. They can make it happen if they have the creativity to be able to do it. And so the clock is ticking, and we're getting close to we're getting close to the deadline. And I'm glad that he already let them know or put that out there that this is only going to put their feet to the fire. That this is only going to be this once the season starts, negotiations are closed. So it's in the Ravens court now. You're gonna have to step your deal up.
So Kenny, I want to come back to you first. What do you think the Ravens reservation is? Why aren't they willing to pay him more than Deshaun? What's stopping them?
I'm pretty sure it's his style of play. I'm sure because he's not the traditional drop back quarterback. They're holding that injury concern over him, or as their rationalization for why they're not willing to commit the type of money that we're talking about. That's the only thing that I can think of.
Dev, what do you think is the holdup?
Ravens are stupid. You know what I mean? It's no other way to just put it. You know what I mean? Or you can just look at it as if the Ravens set this high market, you know what I mean, for Lamar Jackson, then you gotta sit here and think the next MVP quarterback, say for instance, Josh Allen get an MVP and he get real deep into like a Super Bowl run or something like that. He's gonna want that. He's gonna say, "Well, I want that Lamar money. I got this over Lamar, and I did this." You know what I mean? So
Well, they
I
already
just think the
signed him,
Ravens.
so
Yeah, but I was just using him as an example. You know,
yeah,
like
I
maybe
got you.
like Justin Herbert or
Mhm.
one of them up and
Those are the
rising
next ones
quarterbacks.
up. Yeah, Burrow.
Yeah, yeah, most definitely Joe Burrow. You know what I mean? He just led a team to a Super Bowl appearance, and then if he can turn around and have Cincinnati just be a consistent playoff team, or grab an MVP underneath his belt. But I just
So
think the
you
Ravens are
said,
stupid.
and I'm glad you ended there. So I got a follow up for you then. If you are the Ravens, based on what you've seen out of the two, you're comfortable paying Lamar more than Deshaun?
Yes.
Kenny, you the same?
Oh man, that's actually that's an interesting question. I would, based off of his skill set, his character, his leadership traits. Um, but that running style, everybody, that's always going to be the great equalizer in terms of will he be able to stay healthy.
But what if he turned into a 4,000-yard passer though? I just
Yeah.
said, what if we
Man,
know Greg Roman's system is not set up for that? But what if he can just turn into a 4,000-yard passer though? Then would the conversation kind of change then?
well, I think then that means you have to change the personnel around him. I don't think we'll ever see
Significant.
him be. Yeah, I don't think we'll ever see him be that 4,000-yard quarterback
Yeah,
until they
that's why I
change
was
the
saying
personnel around him.
if it because Greg
But
Roman's system is not designed for that.
and I think when you start talking that, you start talking RG3, who had a system that worked, but he wanted to be a 4,000-yard passer. And it was his undoing. I think it's a tough spot to be in because his best asset is the biggest concern in giving him the money. And I personally, I wouldn't do it. I would not give him that much money. I don't think he's gonna hold up. I just don't. Now if he naturally turns into that 4,000-yard passer and doesn't have to run, then you missed it. And that would be game changing. But I don't see that coming based on personnel or just what I've seen on the field and the no playing in preseason. I don't think is a good look. I get the practices and all that. I think he should have saw some time. But yeah, he didn't. To Anthony's question, since we're talking about it, I think this is the other issue that the Ravens run up against.
Mm-hmm.
We saw it happen with Dak. That price is going to keep going up.
The longer you wait,
And you better hope one Burrow or Herbert doesn't win a Super Bowl MVP. Because then that just blows the cap off whatever that next tier is. So
Right.
to that point, or you better hope Lamar don't win it. Let him win another MVP. Let him lead y'all on a nice little playoff run. You thought that more than Watson price tag was going to be high. It's a losing situation unless you're willing to walk away.
I think that price tag will go higher even if Lamar just making a Super Bowl appearance. I think that price tag will just most definitely go through the roof now.
In order for them to get to the Super Bowl, he's going to have to be almost an MVP. So I don't think the two things would be separate. So if we're talking that, then yeah, the money's really up. So I think the likelihood of the Ravens winning by not paying is low. Just pay. Get it, figure it out, get over it, move the money around. If he's your future, pay him before the season starts. Because once the season starts, you asking for a lot of trouble.
Yeah, because I mean, just look at the just look as an example. Just look at the Cowboys. Like they waited to pay for Dak Prescott, and it wound up costing them more money. So we've already seen this happen before. So it should be a lesson to them to have really give them some motivation to get this done early. Matter of fact, if anything, I could even go before that. And Dev, you could probably back me up on this one. They already got burnt one time with Joe Flacco betting on himself.
Well, we got burnt. Boy,
That's
Joe
what I'm
Flacco
saying.
couldn't even, like, there was no clinic in the world that can cure us after he burnt us, man. That was a different type of burning right there.
Yeah. He made out. There's been a couple of these quarterbacks, Sam Bradford and others, that just came at the right time and figured it out.
Kirk Cousins played on this franchise tag for a couple of years.
He did.
And then went to Minnesota and got a bag. And then mediocre the whole time.
But he put up them numbers, similar to Dak.
Yeah. Right place, right time. And the market is it's really at the end of the day, I'm sorry, Ray. It's really at the end of the day about what the market is. And we keep seeing the market get reset. So you're either going to set the market or it gets reset again, and then it's going to cost you more money.
And the other I'm glad you mentioned that, Kenny, as far as market and comparison. Don't let Jalen Hurts have a big year, because he flew around to have a big year with that similar skill set, and they got to pay him. It's just too many coming. Baltimore better get out the way. They let one of these slide through. They gonna be in the world of trouble.
So, like I said, the quarterback I'm scared of is Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert is the quarterback that I'm kind of scared of getting that next big contract, because now that you gave him a defense that can maybe hopefully control their narrative, and then the way he can throw up points, you know what I mean? It can almost be easily for Justin Herbert can almost to be talked about in the MVP conversation this year, or at least Offensive Player of the Year.
The writing is there if his weapons can stay healthy, but his weapons always dinged for whatever reason. Yeah. But ladies and gentlemen, this is real talk. So we give y'all the real talk. And when I say I haven't been this offended by a list in a long time, the NFL has been rolling out their 100 thing or whatever on NFL Network.
Their top 100.
And these experts in analysis and previous, whoever comes up with this awful list, have said that Dak Prescott is the 44th best player in the NFL, followed way behind at 57 by Kyler Murray. And an even bigger shock, Russell Wilson comes in at 61. Can you please explain to me what these numbers mean and how we got here?
Winning a division championship and going to the playoffs, and as opposed to pretty much flaming out towards the end of the season, Kyler Murray and being on the running for your life for the entire season, Russ Wilson. Is there something else? Something I missed?
So you have Dak as a better player than Russ and Kyler Murray, just for the record?
Off of last season. Isn't this list based off of last season?
It is.
Okay, then. So, yes.
But you do realize...
Russ missed half the season. Russ missed like 5 games.
Yeah, but now he's in a new location with much better weapons.
But again, the list is going off of last season's performance. He was better than those two quarterbacks.
Out. It's current best, but that's still factoring in what you think the person's going to do. Dak's situation got worse. Russ's got exponentially better. And they're 20 people apart. I just don't see that.
It got better. Yeah, it had nowhere else to go but get better.
We agree on that.
In Seattle.
I'm tripping about why he just said that got worse.
Right, it hasn't played a game yet. We're just going off.
Oh man, there's no shot for that one, buddy.
This is what we're talking about. The talk of the town is the USFL MVP that y'all signed and 17 penalties. That's been the highlights of
on that, but you're not focusing on the other parts. Kyler Murray, that team, they had a terrible second half of the season, and he looked terrible in the playoff game versus the Rams.
I'll give you Kyler.
Russ Wilson missed half the season and was on a terrible team, and he's going to a brand new team, brand new system, where we haven't seen whether or not what type of chemistry he has with the quote unquote weapons that are exponentially better. So it's totally unproven. So I don't even see how this is even an argument.
Dev, would you like to weigh in? Somebody here is tripping.
Yeah, you are, but go ahead, Dev.
I think I'm gonna have to lean towards Kenny just a little bit on this one. If we are based in Hold on. If we are based in from last year, you telling me Kyler Murray had a better season than that?
I told you I'll give you Kyler. You can have Kyler.
All right. All right. Now let's go to Russ now. Did Russ have a better season than Dak last season?
With a broken thumb.
He's a better player.
No, that's not the question.
That's not the question. That's not the question.
No, that's
who had a better season, Dak or Russ?
I'd have to look at the numbers. I believe Dak had.
Okay. Here's what we do. Here's what we do. Kenny, you pull up Dak numbers since that's your man, and you go in. I'm gonna go ahead and pull up Russ numbers.
All right, I got you.
You know, but I'm just gonna go ahead and say that
4 or 5 games. I don't even know why we bothering to do this.
Right. So yeah, he's gonna have a higher volume of numbers.
Oh, high
because
they go to qualify.
He is gonna have the higher volume. And from what I'm looking at, so here's me. This is me. You know I'm gonna keep it a buck with y'all. I ain't gonna lie to y'all.
Right.
A buck of doo-doo sometimes.
Yeah, bona fide Cowboys hater. It just kills you. It kills you to have to admit.
When in this, John, that is very valid. Competition matters. One guy was playing the Rams.
So we just said so you just said competition matters, right? Competition matters, right? So you telling me that your Washington was no competition last year, right?
They weren't good.
I just want to hear what you said. Thank you. I just wanted to hear you say
it. You do realize we had the same amount of playoff success. So what are you talking about?
Between who?
The Ravens. What y'all do last year?
Who got more recent Super Bowl?
Nobody. No, we're not doing that. I don't even probably have a player on that team that was in the Super Bowl.
Y'all don't even have nobody on that franchise right now that was from y'all last Super Bowl. Probably.
You might be right, but it ain't like y'all been winning nothing.
It ain't like y'all been winning. The only thing y'all been winning.
So we the same. You trying to talk down to us, and you the same as us, basically.
Anywho. Russell Wilson stats.
You just admit, and we getting off topic. The bottom line,
Russell Wilson stats last year.
Based on the numbers, Russell Wilson
was a 64. He was a 65% completion pass.
Yes, he was.
He threw 3,113 yards last year.
Yes, he
25 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, and his QB rating was a 103.
Okay.
Dak, go ahead.
Dak,
you
Dak, 16 games, 68.8 completion percentage, 4,449 yards. What's the TD? 37 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, quarterback rating 104.2.
Dak
Can we
only
move
beat
on?
Russ in
Can we move on?
had better stats. But who had the better team?
Cowboys.
Who had the better team?
Cowboys.
So it makes sense for one person to have better stats when they have a better line and they have better weapons.
And so that's why he's ranked as a better quarterback than Russ. We're going around in circles, coming back to the same thing.
I'm saying if the stats are pretty comparable, which they are, outside of yards, which is based on games.
I think,
like,
I give you that, because I think if Russ would have played a couple more games, because previously off his stats from last year, the year before, he was a 69 completion. He was a 4,000 passing yards. He threw 40 touchdowns. He threw 13 interceptions, and he was a 105 rate.
But he was on a bad team with aging players.
Oh, so here we go. Now see, here's the qualifiers.
I'm just saying, I think that has a role to play. I think Russell Wilson today is a better quarterback than Dak Prescott.
Now,
that's just me.
Did Russell Wilson have a better career than Dak? Oh, most definitely. Now we talking about careers.
Talking about last
if we talking about careers, then I'm tipping it off to Russ. But if we just basing it off last year, it goes to Dak.
All right, y'all can have them. So I'm really curious to see what you about to say here. I guess I know what Kenny about to say. So the list continued, and y'all top 3, top 5. I wish Kyle was on here and whoever else was talking all that Stephon Diggs talk. Stephon Diggs comes in at number 26. Jamar Chase, who I had ahead of Stephon Diggs, came in at number 24. So somebody, for a portion of this list, got it right. I can't speak to the last topic, but here they got it right.
You said that
until the next pick. They have Stephon Diggs at 23.
We noticing a pattern here.
They like
anybody else noticing a pattern here?
They like Cowboys. They have Mr. Get Cooked.
Anybody?
You think Jerry Jones? You think Jerry Jones was part of this?
Is anybody besides me noticing a pattern here?
What's the pattern?
You tell me anybody.
I see this absurdness, but go ahead.
Because the guys that are ranked ahead of the guys that you like are Cowboys. That's the only reason why we're talking about this. If it was anybody else,
Kenny, you cannot, in good conscience, as a fan of sports,
you telling me that Stephon
Diggs is a better player than Jamar Chase. You can't sit here and say that.
Stephon Diggs or Trayvon Diggs?
Trayvon Diggs. I'm not going to waste time talking about Stephon. But Stephon is better than Trayvon.
Come on. You're making it seem like Stephon is a slouch or something.
And you're making it seem like Trayvon Diggs didn't have double figures in interceptions. How often has that happened? How many guys have done that?
I ain't fighting that battle.
Gets cooked. most passing yards given up was him. So, yeah, he'll clue and he'll jump. You just saw him trying to guard Keenan Allen in training camp out there looking crazy. So, I don't know. I'm going to let you go, Kenny. But it sounds like you're going to do exactly what I thought you were going to do, which is surprise the heck out of me. But go ahead, Kenny. Educate us.
No. I'm gonna keep it 100. That's probably a little too high for Diggs, because to your point, Stephon. I mean, always good. Yeah, Stephon and Jamar Chase definitely did have bigger seasons or more balanced seasons in terms of their productivity. So I will give you that. But having said all of that, I'll also say that whenever you can name me how many cornerbacks had double figure interception receiving seasons in NFL history, then let me know, because anytime that happens, then you're definitely going to get some recognition for that. Maybe he might be ranked a little too high, but let's not act like this is something that happens every year.
Okay. Dev?
I'm just curious to see, is he going to be the highest cornerback? You know what I mean? Once the list is done.
It's his third year in the league also, so let's keep that in mind too. Sorry.
So if he wound up being the highest corner on that list, then I kind of want to rant and rave just a little bit. But as far as like what Kenny said, he is ranked a little bit too high. I wouldn't have put him down there, but he did have one hell of a season as a cornerback. So he's like, Kenny, he is gonna get some type of recognition, just a little bit, but I wouldn't have put him that high. Because like you said, Ray, he do get torched a lot too. You know what I mean? It is some routes you just look at him like, dog, what was you looking at? You know what I mean? Why are you going inside and your receiver is outside? So it's just a I think Mac Jones had a better impact season than Kirk Cousins, I guess, to answer that question.
Man, Mac Jones won the game with 3 pass attempts.
Yeah,
I
don't know. Yeah,
I don't know about that. I ain't no Kirk fan, but
I ain't no Kirk Cousins fan either, but he still was a 4,000 passing yard.
And they was begging him not to lose the game.
I got the Patriots falling back, so for what it's worth, I ain't got the Vikings doing nothing either, but still,
You think the Vikings going to be get a Packers competition in that division this year? Since you think the Packers might take a little.
Aaron Rodgers up to Aaron Rodgers things, talking crazy about his young receivers. Like, I think that division
young receivers come up balling.
Ray, don't be trying to use my wisdom. I already put that out there that this was going to be a similar year. That Belichick was about to go down the Pete Carroll route. I had already put that out there. If you want to jump on it, you can go ahead. But
I said when we talked about most disappointing teams or whatever, what are you talking about?
I'm just saying.
I've already said that on here.
Yo, Kenny, fool.
Kenny just be making stuff up.
Don't say you want to just get on the bandwagon. Just come on.
Yeah, come on, man.
What does that even mean? We finally agreed because you decided to have some good sense over there. I mean, Ray Stradamus does what Ray Stradamus does. That's all I can say. And here's another. Here's another one. I just don't understand.
Is it a Cowboy?
Did everyone here watch the Super Bowl? Can you tell me who played in the Super Bowl? Who were the starting quarterbacks?
Matthew Stafford.
And Joe Burrow.
Do you know who he played against?
Joe Burrow.
Can you tell the people who won the Super Bowl?
Stafford.
Can you tell the people that there was a no-look pass in the Super Bowl to win the Super Bowl thrown by Matt Stafford?
Came from Stafford.
And these clowns have the audacity to have Matt Stafford at 27 and Joe Burrow at 21? How? Kenny, please explain this to me because I'm sure you have some kind of explanation, but you cannot be serious.
No, I can't. I can't explain it. That makes absolutely no sense. There's no way that you beat a guy head to head in the Super Bowl, win a division, go to Tampa Bay and beat the quote unquote GOAT on the road, and you're ranked above Joe Burrow. Now, give Joe Burrow credit because they came out of nowhere. Nobody saw the Bengals coming like this last year. So you got to give them credit, but you can't lose in the Super Bowl and then be ranked ahead of the guy that you lost to.
Dev, please, some knowledge. Please help us.
Somebody on that committee need to go take a drug test because they got that all wrong, man. I'm not understanding. Like I said, I'm not the biggest Matthew Stafford fan, but he did beat Joe Burrow. He beat a lot of good quarterbacks going into Joe Burrow. Except for Jimmy. We ain't gonna count Jimmy. I guess he can say he beat Debo. But I don't know, man. Yeah, somebody need to be drug tested because there's a lot of question marks. And that's most definitely. I think that's a disrespect. I think that might be fuel to the fire for Stafford to come back and try to win another one.
We're gonna see. We definitely gonna see. But I was just appalled at that. These people, man, I don't know where they find them and come up with this crap. We need an ASAP list. We need to come up with a top 100. Get these jokers right because they talking crazy. But speaking of people talking crazy, Deion Sanders has taken the NFL and the Hall of Fame committee to task. Kind of not entirely. But obviously he showed some disdain for the current setup, suggested that they should have levels of the Hall of Fame. Overall, Dev, do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you think the Hall of Fame has gotten too lax? Is it still the same accomplishments? Should there be different tiers of Hall of Famers? Give it to us.
I think the different tiers sound interesting. But I think the NFL is starting to they ran out of the top tier people who made an impact in the league, and now you just going finding people now. No disrespect to none of these players that's being inducted to the Hall of Fame, because if your name is even mentioned to be a Hall of Famer, that means you must have did something throughout your career to be mentioned. But it is like certain players you kind of put a question mark on. You be like, dang, man. Other than no disrespect, like Isaac Bruce, great wide receiver. It was a great wide receiver, but you really, other than the greatest show on turf, you really wouldn't think of Isaac Bruce anywhere else, really else. You know what I mean? You really couldn't think of saying like Isaac Bruce would have been a top tier wide receiver on a different organization. I'm not saying that he probably couldn't, but that will be like a conversation, like, man, because if you can put you can put Jerry Rice on another team, and you still believe that Jerry Rice was still going to have a Hall of Fame career. You put Deion Sanders on a different team, and he still lived up to his Hall of Fame career. So, I believe you could have put Chris Carter into a different uniform, and I believe he still would have a Hall of Fame career. Randy Moss the same way. But I just don't think right, and I just don't think Isaac Bruce you can say you could put him in a different uniform and he still would be that Hall of Famer. You know what I mean? Like I said, no disrespect to him, but I just, you know what I mean? That's just like one of the players it just came off the top of my head about that. So I can kind of see what Dion was going at with the tiers, but I just don't know how to figure out what player, how do you put players in the tiers. That's the only part I don't understand how to do yet. He would have to explain more.
You missed a whole lot of gunshot sounds because you just shot all through Isaac Bruce. No.
I'm just saying, like,
if you don't know who Isaac Bruce is,
what I'm saying. We got to
go watch some tape because
we got to get a
you have him out thinking he's trash.
I'm not saying he was trash. I was just saying, like, you know, other than just the greatest show on turf, other than that, I never heard of Isaac Bruce for real. And you know, and I'm not saying like he was trash. He just never crossed my radar until that team came apart.
No, I mean, even when you look at this year's class, Leroy Butler was a good safety. He was. But he wasn't Ed and Troy and some of them other guys. Like, he was cool. So I mean, I agree. So if you were, let me change the question.
Hold up, y'all. Wait a minute. Hold up. Wait. Isaac Bruce is top 5 all time in receiving. He's top 5 in receiving yards. Like, I don't know. We might have to walk that one back.
Like I said, I just all I said was that before the greatest show on turf.
Dev, stop. Just relax. Kenny, you got Isaac Bruce your top 5 receivers?
No, I'm just saying. I just did a quick search on all-time receiving career leaders and receiving yards, and he's top 5.
Now,
he's got 15,000.
Now you do know them stats is going to be inflated. Lynn Swan and them wasn't catching 100 balls a year.
But this was before, you know. This is
nah. That was kind of the kickstart.
But I'm saying in terms of where we became a passing league, he played from 94 to 2010. So he didn't really get all of he only got the tail end of the passing explosion.
Nah, because they played the Titans in what, 99?
Yes, but you got to keep in mind, though, that greatest show on turf had Marcus Falk.
I understand.
So that ball was getting spread around.
That trio was all eaten.
That's what I mean.
That's Mark. So I mean, I get you, but they weren't necessarily a run the ball heavy offense. So his numbers are going to be more than Steve Largent and some of the other people that he's going to pass on that list.
I think they ran it a little more than we. No, I get that. I just think they ran it a little more than we think because I'm pretty sure Marshall Falk is top 10 all time in rushing yards as well. So, but yeah, I think the only part for me is that like I need Dion to give us some examples in terms of the tiers. Like I would need him to give examples of what players would go into what tiers based off of guys that are in the Hall of Fame now. And that will kind of help me out some because, to Dev's point, I do think that the pool is starting to get a little thinner.
Diluted.
Yeah, it's getting So because you got a guy like Tony Baselli, where while he did put up, he had a great career. It was cut short, but it was cut short. So. So he's one of those guys that would kind of fall into that category as to where guys, would consider to be Hall of Fame. He might fall into that tier that Dion is talking about, where it goes, you have the Hall of Fame and then that next tier, where I don't know, Hall of Very Good. I don't want to disrespect nobody, but I'm not sure what he would, what you would title that tier. So that's why I said I need to get a little more understanding from Dion as to how those tiers would work. But I think he does have a point in that the pool is getting more shallow. So maybe, I don't know, the solution is that we cut down on the amount of guys that we elect every year, because I think it's a certain amount of players that they try to select every year. Maybe that's an idea or a solution that they might need to do to kind of make it a little more exclusive. But I'm just not sure.
So let me throw another guy at you. Cliff.
Couldn't even get it out. That kick done.
Hey, yo, I went and pulled up Cliff Branch's stats. So I'm not gonna be a hypocrite, and I understand the times is different. But this guy had 501 catches in 14 seasons, 4 Pro Bowls, 8,700 yards. What are we doing? I hadn't even heard of Cliff Branch. So, no. I've heard about some other players before my time. He wasn't one. Outside of a lineman, if you ain't
he ain't made history list.
In the Hall of Fame.
Straight he ain't like make the history list.
Heck no. He ain't made nobody history list.
Hey, Kenny, you know about him, Kenny?
I was young, like it was when he was on the tail end. So now I know of him, but I didn't see a lot of him play.
Man, if y'all don't get out of here with this nonsense.
But I will say,
3 times.
He's not even top 50.
You let Cliff Branch get in, and T.O. and Chris Carter had to wait? Stop.
But how long? I wonder how long he had to wait before he got in.
He should still be waiting. Oh man.
Oh man. You is like the ultimate pettiest guy
I'm telling you, man, it's true,
in the world. For a person who don't know nothing about this guy, say he still should be waiting. You don't know if he made an impact in the game or nothing.
The man waited 37 years
I was reading
after his career
his
was
bio.
Oh man.
Apparently he was good in the postseason. But yeah, we ain't gonna do this.
That man waited 32 years.
He had 2,000-yard seasons and he just barely got them. This is ridiculous. Utterly ridiculous. Oh man.
Oh,
very well.
Man.
Well, no, I agree. And so this is the question I wanted to ask y'all. So Cliff Branch is probably like at the lowest tier of the Hall of Fame pool as far as we can gather. Would you rather be in the Hall of Fame but be in the bottom tier, or would you just rather not be in the Hall of Fame?
Nah, I'm taking the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
I don't care what
you be in. But when y'all have the dinners, you got to sit at the lowest.
What you saying?
So instead of having a gold jacket, we're going to get a cream jacket?
Yeah, what? The last table call when it's time to eat? What are we doing?
It's gonna be like
they're gonna be like tier 1, you can get your food. Tier 2, you can get your food.
like they got
dang, is this prison?
You get a picture in the Hall of Fame. You don't get an actual bust. So the bust is like you just get like a nice picture or something.
You get a picture in your cream jacket.
Wow.
You might as well get them a participation slip.
They get it right. You want these guys to get gold adjacent jackets. They don't get gold jackets.
They gotta get velvet. They gotta get gold velvet jackets.
They got it's velvet with like a gold collar. We give them a hint of gold.
Courtney.
What is that, velvet?
But I do think they got to figure it out. I think the NBA need to beat them to it, but the NFL, because the standard was so high at one point with so many greats. Shannon Sharp waited 3 times. Like some really, really all-time greats of the greats have had to wait multiple years.
But do you think it's because of the way how the NFL has changed now? Like players are setting different records each year now. So it's like now that the 90s records is kind of like, oh, well, you know, like how you look at that dude records now. You be looking like, maybe he should have got that call. You know what I mean? But so do you think that these guys are setting a bar, or the way that the game is changing, that the bar is set so high now that you have to wait for this group of generation to kind of retire before you start getting some names again? You know what I mean? Some top 10 names again?
No, so that's why I think it should be a 5-year max. And I don't know how long you can wait, but you should get 5 years. That'll basically say you retired in your generation. If you couldn't get in with your generation of talent, then you shouldn't be in. You don't get to get in later down the line when maybe a couple lesser players get in. You wasn't good enough when your era was getting inducted. So I would put a cap on how long you can wait. At a certain point, you just wasn't good enough.
What if you have a log jam at a position? Because I think that was part of the problem with some of the guys in the 90s, is that, especially with the wide receivers, like there was a log jam with the wide receivers. So you had guys like Tim Brown that had to wait, Andre Reed that had to wait, and those guys put up big numbers in their era. So what do you do?
Should have been better. Work harder.
This guy, yeah.
Oh, man.
So
if you had to wait, you wasn't good enough.
So let me ask this question: Are the numbers? That's not true, because T.O. was clearly a first ballot Hall of Famer. He had to wait.
Well, that wasn't a talent issue. That was a hater issue.
But I'm just saying. Still, the fact remains that he had.
So what if somebody hating that generation then?
Right. So somebody.
And they need to get their card revoked. They need to make everybody's votes public. And so when these dumb voters make these dumb decisions, get them out of there. Maybe you get a 2-year term, and then they rotate new writers in there. I don't know, but
or get the writers out. Get some more players in there, as opposed to just having writers in there.
So how many times you get? How many times you get the call? Then say if you don't get that first ballot, how many calls you get?
Since
you only got that 5. Oh, up to so you get up to that 5 years period.
Yeah, because you're not all gonna retire at the same time, but y'all gonna retire probably close enough that 5 years should have you in your group. And if you can't beat out your group in 5 years, you wasn't that good. You wasn't that good. Sorry, not sorry. Justin Tucker's going into the Hall of Fame. He was good. Adam Vinatieri's gone. Brady's gone. Some of these are no-brainers. If you got to start thinking and trying to part and parcel to help get them in, get them out. It's the Hall of Fame.
So, like the question, like what we was talking about, Deshaun Jackson. I don't know if you was with Deshaun Jackson getting in the Hall of Fame or not, but what if
taking him over
he's in? It sounds like you're gonna take a bunch of people over Cliff Branch right now.
This man not gonna stop shooting.
Ooh, boy.
He is straight killing.
You better hope we don't go into zombie mode, man. Cause you shooting all your ammo.
I'm telling you. This dude is MJing before he got Pippen.
Like, golly, boy. What's up with the Cliff Branch, man? What's up, man? You couldn't find nobody else?
I just happened to look at his numbers. I feel like there's a couple other names. Had I looked at them, I'd have had the same opinion. It kind of looked like a bunch of scrubs.
Yo, man.
Yo, you talking about me and Isaac Bruce. And you over here talking about
man. Yo, the disrespect for the previous generation is out of control right now.
Oh, man. Boy.
Like Sam Mills. He's cool. 5 Pro Bowls in 12 seasons. You couldn't even go every other year? What are we doing?
Let's move on, man. Let's move on. The thoughts and opinions of Ray, Mr. Bond Chronicles are his and his alone and do not reflect the thoughts and opinions of the ASAP Network.
Well,
let me find out this linebacker went into the Hall of Fame with 20 and a half career sacks.
It's a middle linebacker.
You better have 18,000 tackles. If you ain't sacking the ball, he got 1,300 tackles, 20 and a half sacks, 11 picks, 22 forced fumbles pretty good. I ain't gonna lie to you.
No, don't try to jump on this bandwagon now.
In 12 seasons. He's not as trash. He ain't as trash as I thought.
Don't try to jump on this bandwagon.
Can't put the back in the gun now.
He's not as bad as I thought. I wouldn't.
You already shot his career, so you can't unshoot him now.
Right.
Yeah, these guys shouldn't be in, but keep going. Sorry.
We can just move on, like Kenny said, man, because I feel like if we keep this topic going, people's careers might be in jeopardy with you. So we're just gonna keep it moving.
I keep it a buck. I don't kowtow to nobody. So we're gonna take a brief pivot to combat sports, and I think we all predicted, it did end up going the distance, but Anthony Joshua down again. Bum.
I'm so glad I did not watch that fight, because as I was leaving the house,
you call him a bum?
The Zone knows he's a bum because they wasn't even advertising during the day. I missed the fight because I didn't even know it was on. I was waiting.
It came on 5 o'clock in the afternoon.
Well, I was about to say it was in Saudi Arabia, so that time difference is
I got
crazy.
A notification saying that Usyk won, so I didn't even get a chance to see it. I was like kind of watched some clips and listen to commentary, but I missed it. And sounds like I didn't miss much. It sounds like you got outboxed. Joshua and Wilder just don't know how to box. I don't know how you get to the pinnacle of your sport and you're not even that good at your sport. Like when they get in there with real boxers, they look like amateurs. Like I don't know, man. I can only tell you what I see.
So you telling me they need to be back in the league, but they got the helmets back on, man?
Yeah. They need the special helmet and the special mitts.
Need the headgear on, the body gear.
Actually, you know what? They don't even need to put no gloves on. They need to work on footwork. And and only punches they need to throw are jabs. Learn how to throw a good jab. It changes everything. But go ahead, Kenny, Dev, whoever wants to comment on this predictable finish.
I didn't see the fight. You know, I'm kind of glad because I rolled with Joshua. I thought Joshua was going to win in, 10, 11, one of those.
He had a chance in the ninth round.
Yeah, he had a chance, I heard, but he let me down. He did everything that Ray said he was going to do, man. And, you know, I hate to say Ray was right, man. So, Ray, you got that one. You got that one, buddy. You got that one.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, so my next question would be, we talked about Deontay Wilder last show, and I brought him up here. assuming he wins his next fight, which he should, do we finally get a Joshua Wilder fight?
That's the only fight we
Yeah.
can that would matters to those two, honestly, because it shouldn't be fighting no champions.
Yeah, that's basically the last hurrah for them, or the last big fight for them, because we don't. There's the other matchups are I don't think they win. I don't think either one. I don't think Wilder beats Usyk, and I think that they're basically the same type of fighter. And to Ray's point, I think that I just watched like a 12-round like highlight. If you go on YouTube, the Zone put like a 12-round, put all 12 rounds and kind of like clipped it in terms of showing the big punches of those rounds. And I just saw that basically Usyk just outworked him in his activity, just and his his speed, his ring generalship. It all gave Joshua problems. And I think the other thing is with those big guys, man, those 6'7" guys, they're just not fluid. I think a lot of times they're just not fluid. And I think I see the same things with both Wilder and Joshua, where their feet get tangled, and their feet are not balanced, and his feet come together and they're not able to get their legs into their punches. They're throwing a lot of arm punches. So I just think they both have that same problem where, and it's one of those things to where it's fundamental. So, that's one of those things where you learn the footwork and the craft of the fight, of the boxing game. You learn that early on. And if you don't get that early on and get those fundamentals early on into your career, then at some point it just becomes too late. And I think that's the same thing with both of those guys. I think they kind of are who they are. I think you can make, some small improvements, or some small, they can, make some small adjustments. But I don't, at the end of the day, when it's, the punches start flying, they're going to revert back to who they are. So I think to me, that's the only fight that will give any buzz or get any eyes on them, is them two fighting each other. Nobody wants to see them fighting anybody else.
That's fair. One of the other big fights from this weekend, there was a couple that I was kind of a fan of, but the Omar Figueroa and Sergey Lipinets fight, and I was disappointed. We kind of talked and joked around Adrian Broner not being available for the fight, but in hindsight, I feel like Adrian Broner missed a heck of an opportunity. Figueroa looked terrible. Like, he should have been able to pick him apart and probably maybe not put him down because he isn't that big of a punching power, but with some activity and counter punching, which is what Broner's been known for, like, that was a layup of an opponent. And now if they fight later, no one's going to care because Figueroa looked tired, and I think he said he was going to retire anyway. So I don't know what's going on with Adrian. The reports came out that they were expecting him to back out. He was partying during camp. He wasn't focused. Obviously, that's one side that we're hearing. But it looked like that would have been a perfect type of opponent. It's enough of a name to make a splash with a big finish, and he just didn't get it done. Kenny, your thoughts on kind of what you saw from the fight?
I actually didn't see that fight, but I just wanted to touch on the Broner thing. Like, if those reports are true, like, we got to stop. We got to stop hiding behind mental health, or stop using mental health as an excuse. That's a serious thing, and we got to. It's starting to get to the point where we're throwing it out a little too haphazardly and not, using it, using it the way it was intended to be. Because it's people. Depression is real, mental issues, mental health, and anxiety, and all of that stuff is real. So, if that's the case that he was partying, and then he wants to put this post out that I'm not mentally there, or my mental health is part of the reason why I couldn't fight. And then this comes out like, man, I was already done with him as it is, but it is just even more so. If that's the case, then I'm really done with him.
Dev?
Man, that fight was boring to me. You know what I mean? I had it split screen, between that and the UFC, but um, I was trying to pay attention to that whole Showtime card to me was not it in my opinion. Like y'all said, Broner would have fought. Broner maybe could have did something, maybe, but it's Broner. We couldn't bet on him to win that fight, even because if Broner would have lost that fight, everybody he'd have been the last for stock of boxing, and Showtime wouldn't have lived up to that hype. Lived up to that deal no more. So I think it was a lose situation as far as that whole card. Like I said, it was boring to me. It didn't really keep my interest. So hopefully Showtime won't have to make up for that.
Well, Dev, thanks for your honest feedback.
I did throw a couple shots.
Yeah. I liked the. I'm a Brandon Lee fan, so I enjoyed watching him fight. He got dropped, and second round early on, and I was shocked, and I thought he was in trouble, but he got himself together, handled it well, and got the dub. Dominated. Really,
I was gonna say he wound up winning, right?
Yeah. So it was good to see him kind of fight through some adversity, and hopefully that stays with him for maybe the foreseeable future. And in another fight, because it was, like I said, it was a fight night of fight nights. It was midday, 2 at late at night, and that man, Usman, went night. He got a little too comfortable, got a little cocky, and then boom!
Yeah, well.
I was standing there listening to the announcers talk about how it's over, it's done, and this is the rub with combat sports. When you're up, and you up, get on your bike. Or do you stay true to who you are and put yourself in striking distance? And in striking distance, Usman was. And that was the last we saw of him for the night. So, Dev, your thoughts?
That kick was like, oh my God. It's like, number one, I think if you ever get kicked in a fight, you deserve to lose. And then if you ever get kicked in the face, you most definitely shouldn't been in that fight. And the way Usman had got set up to be kicked in his face, it was just like, my God, like, I woke my wife up out of her sleep yelling, oh my God, I can't believe yo got kicked like that. Like, it was just shocking because he just bucked at him, and Usman just kindly it was like he was playing peekaboo with his face, and then he just let his face out, and my man just caught him. And once I seen his eyes just roll back into his head, I said, man, he is done. Oh man, caller, he needs some milk. He needs 911. He need to be breastfed all over again. It's gonna be. He gonna need something done, man. Cause like, oh my God, man, like I couldn't imagine being kicked like that, and with no shoes on either. Oh man, you kick me barefooted like that, man. You got shot now, man. Golly, that was my intake on it.
Yeah, it was shocking. I was standing here because it was after the Lipinets fight, and I was like, all right, let me turn it on. And so I turned to it a little late, but I got to it probably like the 4th round. And, Usman was Usmaning. Some back and forth. He was kind of controlling some of the ground game. And then, the final round was kind of dry, wasn't doing a whole lot. That'd be why it's hard for me to watch UFC. Too much dancing, too much hugging at times. And then, like, Zeus sent the bolt of lightning from the heavens. And that man was like, oh, because he had his arm up, but it wasn't up high enough. And man, that changed the UFC. I imagine a rematch is in tow, but that was the man, and that was the man. And he ain't just lose. He got put out. So I mean, it sets up for a great rematch. I think
he want to see that feet again. He want to see that foot again. It's not the person. He don't want to see that foot again. He might as well go ahead and do that man toenails like as God. Nah.
But Dev, here's what you listen. He never saw the foot. He didn't see it.
That's why he went to sleep. There's always the shots that you don't see.
He wouldn't know what it was.
Yeah, there's always the shots that you don't see
he should never ever want to see feet again.
Yeah,
he should be scared when he hear people run up on him.
Yeah, that man ain't going to nobody's nail salon, no pedicures, nothing.
Man, like I said, that was one hell of a kick, boy. Like Ray said, man, I was expecting a little grappling, little bit of jabs here and there. I never would have expected that kick from wherever he got that kick from. It looked like he turned to Super Saiyan or something like that, man. And whoo, like I said, man, somebody kicked me like that, man. We no longer fighting. It's not a fight no more. You got to go.
Yeah. You got to see me in the back.
All you gonna hear is where you at? Where you at?
You can't see him in the back. That man was getting smelling salts and getting checked for a concussion.
Yeah,
you don't see nobody.
It was like, man, you know where you at? My man's in Ohio.
Concussion protocol.
We're gonna put you in this tent. You can't go to sleep for 12 hours.
Straight up.
Yeah. But we do got some basketball news to get to. And the never-ending Kevin Durant saga. Apparently, the Memphis Grizzlies are now interested. I ask, hopefully for the last time, will the Nets be trading Kevin Durant? Dev, give us your prediction.
No, I don't think so. I just think this is just entertainment. Because the Nets is going to want something very, very, very something that the Grizzlies ain't going to want to give up. They're going to want to give up a boatload of draft picks, and you're going to have to give up one of them stars. And I'm pretty sure the Grizzlies are going to tell them Ja Morant is off limits. So don't even think about him. But that means if you ain't going to give away Ja Morant, that means you got to think about Bane, you got to think about Triple J, you got to think about your bench. And do you really want to do that for Kevin Durant? Because now you're only going to have you're going to have Ja Morant and Kevin Durant throughout your whole team against a loaded West. So I don't think it would be good idea for the Grizzlies to even do this trade. I think you stick with your young guns, the team that you building around, and keep going and wait for Golden State to slip off.
Kenny?
Yeah, I agree. I think that, because it's basically been established that the Nets are asking for the sun, moon, and the stars for KD. So if your deal has to start with a combination of either John Moran, Desmond Bain, Triple J, Desmond Bain. So I don't know I don't think that Memphis is willing to basically, turn their roster all over to get Kevin Durant. I'm sure, to me, this is just one of those things where they're just kicking the tires, like, with the Nets and seeing, kind of getting some parameters, or, getting some names to see if there was a potentiality to do a Kevin Durant deal, then what would it take? But I don't think that it gets any further than that, because again, they would have to totally, turn over their roster. And I think the other point that Dad made that I totally agree with is they got a great young core, and they're on their way. So I don't know if you change course midstream, because we see how that worked out for the Nets.
Yeah, I'm in agreement. It's ongoing. I'm over it. I hope we saw that KD and Kyrie were working out in LA. So if there was any beef, which I don't think there ever really was, hopefully this will solidify it. Kyrie's opted in. KD, it's okay, man. You can take back the trade request. Move on. Try it out. See how it works. We can revisit it. But just get the drama out the way. Remove the request. Stop entertaining, wasting people's time with these calls, alienating other teams, players, and their franchises because they're being talked about being traded for because these men, these egos be sensitive. Let's just move on. It was a good news cycle while it lasted, but hopefully we can go ahead and put this to bed and we'll stop with all the fake rumors and announcements of stuff coming out. But yeah, that was really all I had for you fellas. Did y'all have anything else y'all wanted to get into before we get out of here?
Nah, I ain't really got much.
No, man, we were getting, the last couple of weeks of the summer, and really it's not not a big news cycle, so we go ahead and call it a night, and we'll be back.
All right. Well, we will be back Thursday at 9. I will be here for sure. And the following Labor Day Thursday, I will not, but we'll talk about that later. But we can, preview this weekend's some of the upcoming things we got going on in sports. Hopefully nobody gets hurt. We didn't really get into it. I didn't think it was much of a big deal, but Chet, speedy recovery to him and planning that Pro-Am. I would hate for someone to get hurt, not just because I hate for them to get hurt, but we're seeing the impact these Pro-Ams and stuff are having on these communities. So I hope – I don't want an NBA player to get fearful or get hurt, and then now nobody wants to do it anymore because I think it's great. But
you see, Deontay Murray gave a big shout-out to LeBron, thanking him from, for the people of Seattle to actually have get to see basketball stars back in that city again.
Yeah.
So that was a big shout out.
Yeah, that was dope.
They don't get to see him come play their home team because they ain't got one.
Right, they don't have one. Yeah,
the league need to hurry up and just bring Seattle back, man. I don't know what's wasting time down there.
Take them out of Toronto. Bring them back to America. It's the National Basketball Association.
I'm with you on that. I could take that. You moved Vancouver.
Yeah, you did.
Right.
And you brought them over. You brought them over during COVID. They were playing in Tampa that one season. So
yeah. So we'll see.
Shout out to Jamal Crawford and LeBron James and all those guys. You saw people out there camping out and stuff. So that's just a great atmosphere and great event. So shout out to everybody for making that happen.
For sure. Much love, everybody. Shout out to Kyrie and everything he's doing up there over the weekend. Glad to have safe travels for you, Kenny. Dev, keep doing your thing. Check Dev out. He got some crazy thoughts. If you like the stuff he be saying over here, he said on his own show too. I be trying to help him, but can't teach the old dog new tricks all the time.
Man,
so
we
y'all
don't. No. You know what, Ray? You know what? I would like for both of y'all to come on the show one day, man. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Because
I'm a phone call away.
I most definitely want to hear Ray trash talk on there because I think my whole show might be just full of gunshots.
Hey,
just say the word, my man. We there.
We're gonna link that up.
Somebody got to speak truth to power, and that's me.
Your truth. Yeah, your truth.
Well,
let's qualify that.
It's the truth, and if it ain't, it's a lie. Y'all know what it is. But yeah, just hit us. We'll figure it out.
No doubt, for sure.
All right, we're gonna get that together.
Let's do it. I'll send you my retainer and all that too.
Anyway, Kenny, man, thank you, Kenny.
I need chips. All right, y'all later.
Whole sports all plays. Whole